Hey guys, welcome to episode 38 of Notable Needlework. I am Kate, Notable Needle, Noteable, on Ravelry, on Plurk, and on Twitter. The blog, if you're watching this on iTunes, is at notableneedlework.blogspot.com. This is episode 38, take 2. I recorded episode 38 earlier in the day, and evidently the sound decided not to record. So the nice thing about this is that I've already written up show notes, so I know what all I talked about. So finished objects. The first things I have are I'll just put on the one. Rainbow convertible mitts. These are the Urban Necessity pattern, and I knit them out of Malabrigo Rios in the Arco Iris colorway. And I'm not sure why, but Will finds the thumb on these absolutely hilarious. When I finished the first one, we were laughing for about 10 minutes. I was mostly just laughing because he was laughing. So I don't know what's so funny about it, but he thought they were hilarious. So the only change I made to the pattern was adding the thumb flap. And the weird thing about the pattern is that I made gauge and it fits me perfectly. The weird thing is that it's the small that fits me perfectly. And I'm usually a large in most fingerless glove sizes. So if you have small-ish hands, you're going to need to alter the pattern. Other than that, I love it. I love how they turned out. I'm looking forward to wearing them tomorrow, because it's actually been cold enough in the morning that there's been frost on my car. So they will come in good use very soon. The second finished object is /R Christian's grandma's striped socks, Christmas socks. These are for my friend Christian. She asked me to make 2 pairs of socks for her grandma's for Christmas. So this is for the one grandma, and then this is Knit Picks Felici self-striping sock in the Tyrrhenian purple colorway, and I really love how these turned out, and it's probably why I have a whole bunch of socks either on the needles or in the future, which leads to works in progress, which is of course the second pair of socks for Christian's grandmas. And these ones are also Knit Picks Felici, and they are the cochineal? I'm pretty sure it's cochineal colorway. And they are pretty pinks and dark reds and berries, and yeah, I know I'm gonna like how they're gonna turn out. So I'm excited about them, and so is she, and that's really all that matters. So my only other thing that actually got love was the I Heart Lace shawl. This is my mom's Christmas present, and I am knitting it out of the Volmisa 100% superwash merino that I got for the Plurk Podcaster Challenge. And this, I think, was originally the dark Neptune colorway, but it's a weird different colorway. I'm not sure if you can see in the light, but there's definitely color differences that I don't think are supposed to be there, and that's why it's a weird different skein. Um, but I like how it's turning out. The I Heart Lace shawl is just a basic triangle shawl, and then there's an eyelet border that forms little hearts. So it's just stockinette right now, but it hasn't been coming with me. The socks are really the biggest um, thing that I want to try and finish right now, because that's really what a lot of my time, either knitting or not knitting, has been spent on, is figuring out what projects, like basically the order of projects that I need to do to get everything done when it needs to be done. Because I have a couple things that need to be done before we leave to go back to California. Some of them is more of a, it would be nice if you could finish it beforehand. Like Mom's shawl, realistically, I could block that in California with pins or something. Blocking wires would be easier, and I'm hoping to finish it before we go. But if worst comes to worst, I could block it at home. But the socks for Christian and one of my other soon coming up projects, as well as the tree skirt, all need to be done before we leave, which is December 14th. So it's really just figuring out what needs to be done when, who can deal with having a half finished item wrapped up and put under the tree, i.e. my husband, because he would not think twice if I was to put his fingerless gloves, needles and all, under the tree. He wouldn't care. That being said, I have a couple things that are coming up soon. The first of which is my Daughters of the American Revolution chapter had an auction yesterday. One of the things that we auctioned was this skein of yarn and me custom knitting whatever the winner wanted out of this yarn. So I have been emailing back and forth with the woman who won, and she wants to make a scarf for her daughter-in-law for Christmas because she's a huge Auburn fan. So we have been trying to pick patterns. In the show notes, I have a project page for the romantic ruffle scarf. As of about 20 minutes ago, she doesn't want that pattern. I will probably be doing that scarf in another color at some point, so I'm gonna probably label it as Frogged right now, but I will be doing that in the future because it's a really gorgeous pattern. I might have some of the purple. I have a couple skeins of purple fingering weight yarn now, and one of them might wind up being that scarf because I think a tonal would look really good with it, a solid or a tonal. Anyways, so this, I sent out a couple pictures of different patterns online that are in my queue that work with the yardage and make longer scarves, because she wanted a longer scarf than what the ruffle would make, but she didn't want just a basic scarf. So there's a couple different ones. There's I don't remember which patterns I sent her, but hopefully she emails me back soon so I can start working on it, because I don't think she realizes that I sort of have it done. And for her, I would want to have it done by the December DAR meeting, which is December 10th. So hopefully she picks. Because if it was my only project that I had to do, sure, she could wait as long as she wanted. She could wait till the week before. I don't have that luxury. The other things that are coming up that I have the yarn basically ready to go for is for my brother-in-law, his Christmas present is going to be the Who hat, which I've knit and shown here before in teal for my friend Kayla. I'm doing his in this more subdued gray, and I'm only going to be doing the yellow button eyes on one or two of the little owl cables. I don't know that he could pull off eyes all the way around, but just one I think would be super cute for him. Oh, the reason that I am using acrylic for my brother-in-law's hat is because this is the third hat that I have made for him, and he has felted the first two. So, yeah, he's getting acrylic. The two other things that I have set to go, but will probably not be worked on until at least when we get to California, if not after Christmas. Well, this one has to be done before Christmas. This is Misty Alpaca Chunky, and I want to check again, but I don't think it has a... It's color 470. And this is going to be a scarf like my Painted Desert scarves. It was originally going to be for my niece, but then I realized that I'm not knitting anything for my brother or my sister-in-law or her brother, who is my nephew. So I think that this is going to be for my stepsister. I just call her that because my mom and her boyfriend are basically married at this point, and she lives in my old room. So basically sister-in-law, or stepsister. So that this I can whip out in less than a day, and her original Christmas present, which is going to be the jeweled cowl, which is the same pattern that Mommy Needs Yarn just finished, would take a bit more time than that. So she's probably getting this for Christmas, and I think it'll look cute on her and she'll like it. So see how that goes. And then the other one that I have ready to go, but I'm starting to think, because I think we'll see how much I still love knitting socks after I'm done with this second pair. So Will asked me yesterday why I've never knit him socks, and I responded, because you've never asked me, because I didn't know he wanted socks. So I found this, it's Knit Picks Stroll hand painted in the Tree Fort colorway, and it was a work in progress, or a UFO. What had happened with this is I was making a little triangle shawl, and one, I wasn't that crazy about how the colors looked when they were being knit up as far as a shawl goes, and I had wound the yarn into a center pull ball, and I had pulled out part of the center, and it had become horribly tangled. It took me about 4 hours to get it completely untangled and wound into these two balls this morning. Will came in to check on me a couple times, and I reminded him that he is the only person in the entire world that I would do that for. If it was anyone else, I would probably have just left it tangled and or thrown it away, which would have been a total waste because this is gorgeous yarn. So there's definitely knots in here, because that was the only way that I could get it out, was getting the now loose end through some of the knots and the pills and everything, and then tying it back together. But you know what? I don't think he's really going to care. So these are just going to be the same sort of basic cuff down stockinette sock, which when they're done I may wind up stealing from him because we do wear the same shoe size. Well, my feet are a little smaller, but whatever. They can be a hair bit small for him, and then they'll fit me. Because these colors are gorgeous, and I'm really looking forward to see how they turn out. I'm just debating whether these will be Will's Christmas present, or whether the fingerless gloves that were supposed to be his Christmas present will be his Christmas present. because this yarn is ready to go and the Cascade sock isn't. So, I don't know. These may wind up being his Christmas present. We shall see. That is actually it for knitting stuff. This goes way faster when it's not the first time around. As far as nursing school goes, so if you... Sorry, there's a needle sticking out of my tree skirt. So if you did not see last week's episode, I am in the middle of a 2-week, basically hell stretch, push to the finish, whatever you want to call it. I had 3 tests in less than 48 hours. I had one Monday morning, one Monday afternoon, one Tuesday morning. I wound up getting all A's on all of them and 100% on one, so I'm very happy, and quite frankly a little bit surprised, because that was not fun. The rest of the week was spent working in Skills Lab, in Open Lab, working on my physical assessment, because I'm being validated on that on Thursday or Friday. They haven't set out the schedule yet, which is the last big thing that I have to do for this semester. After that, we have Thanksgiving break. What do we have? Next, not the week that starts tomorrow, but the next week, the week of Thanksgiving break, we have 2 classes. We have class Monday morning, we have class Tuesday morning, and that's it for the week. The week after that, I believe we have a test. I think it's actually one of our finals. And then a class, and then a simulation, and then nothing for the rest of the week. And then the week after that is finals week. So it's really just making it until Thursday. We have a poster session tomorrow morning for the research project that we have done. Our topic is communicating with a patient that speaks a foreign language. So we looked at the legal implications of that, the troubles that you have to look out for, and the best ways to go about communicating with your patient when a translator is not available, and tips on on dealing with a translator, everything like that. So that's not a huge deal, but it's just one of those things that I'm ready for it to be done. The physical assessment validation, yeah, that's a big thing. We will be performing a full physical on our partner. We have 30 minutes to do everything, and we're being recorded. The biggest concerns with that are that the time limit is 30 minutes, that there are a lot of things that we have to cover, and remembering the exact phrases that they want to hear to make sure you know what you're talking about, and remembering to say pretty much everything that you're thinking out loud, which is something you don't want to do in front of the patient. But if you hear something, you have to say what you hear, because your instructors can't hear what you're hearing through the videotape. And then, of course, the other big thing is that since you are being recorded, they have to see everything that your hands are doing, otherwise you didn't do it. So if you forget and block the camera while you're listening to heart sounds, you don't get any points for listening to heart sounds, because they can't see what your hands are doing. You could be, up on their head for all they know. So it's a lot of things to remember, but it I feel good about it. I've been practicing all this week, and the last time I recorded the time, it was at 28 minutes. So I feel good about it, and we're going to be practicing pretty much all afternoon tomorrow. Because then Tuesday is our clinical planning day, Wednesday is our last day of clinical, and then we could be validating as early as Thursday morning. So it's not a lot of time to get everything done. Quite frankly, our cohort is split into two sections, Group A and Group B. Group B has a distinct advantage for pretty much every single validation we've had to do. They've had a full extra week to learn a skill and practice it than we have. They don't have clinical this week, so they don't, I mean, granted they have class for the same amount of time, but after their, wait, no they don't. They don't have class on Tuesday afternoon. So they can go in and practice. Whereas we have to go to clinical planning and do all of the paperwork before we go to clinical the next morning. And they already know their schedule. So they can practice in the room that they are going to be validating in. That is not an option for us unless they magically post it tomorrow morning, which won't happen with our luck. Anyways, it will be fine. I keep reminding myself of that and reminding my partner of that. I think my biggest reason for wanting her to pass is not only because she's a good student and I know that she can do it, but selfishly I think it's mostly that I don't want to have to go do the validation process all over again, even if I am just the patient. I don't want to have to go to campus if I don't have to. In other news besides that, one of my friends from nursing school is essentially a male version of myself. He was also a biology major. He's an older student, and he has the same stupid sense of humor that I do. So we get along famously. And he has always been interested in the fact that I knit and what I'm knitting and everything. Lately, and I'm not sure how he's finding these, but he has been coming up to me, and I can always tell when one's coming because he'll come with his iPhone in hand and showing me pictures of different knit items that he has found. The highlights include a willy warmer and the infamous 2 reindeer hat. Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go on Ravelry and search reindeer hat and it'll probably come up. And the latest one was a beanie with a knit beard attached to it, which looks shockingly like the one that he has right now, which he's going to be shaving off soon. So that was his rationale for why I should make him one, so that he can stay warm come January when he doesn't have his beard anymore. Anyways, we were talking, and I said something along the lines of, what am I going to do when it's winter break and I don't have you to find hilarious things for me to look at, hilarious knitting projects for me to look at? And then I came up with either the dumbest or the most brilliant idea ever. I have not quite decided which it is. I'll let you know when I fully implement it. What I'm going to be doing, either this week or next week, is showing Michael how to use Ravelry. and I will be giving him my username and password for Ravelry, or having him create an account. I have not yet decided. And I will be showing him how to search through patterns and how to add patterns to someone's queue. And then I can see what kind of things he has found and added to the queue, because quite frankly, I think that it will be hilarious. So when I do manage to do that, I will let you guys know, and you are more than welcome to see what he adds to my queue. I may also have him tag the patterns with something. I'll come up with a tag for him if he does use my queue, or if he comes up with his own Ravelry account, then I will let you guys know what his name winds up being, and you can see what he winds up adding to his queue. I think it's going to be hilarious, quite frankly. So, we'll see how that turns out. And the other thing that I wanted to say, which I almost forgot, two things. So one, this past Friday was Veterans Day, and our DAR chapter was in the Veterans Day parade. On the blog, there are pictures. I think I took all of the pictures. I don't think I was ever actually in any of the pictures. But we have pictures. I think you should check them out because some of my sisters are hilarious. I love the haps. That's all I'm saying. You have to see the rest. The second thing was, I want your opinion on something. So, I talked to my mom today, and she asked me what I want for Christmas. And I, of course, haven't thought about it. And she had suggested getting, I'm eligible to get the iPhone 4 for not too much money. She's already ordered hers. We got our iPhones at the same time, so she's already ordered hers. And I was thinking about that. But what I was thinking about more that I feel would actually benefit me and in a way benefit you guys too is having my mom or my brother or the different other people that my mom, when I tell my mom what I want for Christmas, she is disseminating the information throughout the family, is having them pick out yarn. So what I wanted to know was, A, iPhone or yarn. I have a feeling I know what pretty much everyone's response is going to be for that. 2, if you pick yarn, what... Okay, so what I'm thinking is that I would pick a couple brands and or yarn weights, specific types of yarn, like, you know, Madeline Tosh, something like that. And, of course, Highland Handmaids and Fiber Nymph Dye Works. Although, the one problem I have with Fiber Nymph Dye Works is I don't want something that they're going to have to camp out and order at a specific time for, because that is just not in the cards for them. And yeah, I know the same can be true of some of Heather's colors as well, but usually she has at least something that's good that I would want left over in the shop, which is nice because I can't always be sitting in front of the computer pressing F5. So, that being said, if you could get any yarn, and this is not including Volmiza, because that's the same sort of waiting to catch an update. So no Vesper Sock, no Volmiza. And sadly, unless they want to do a custom order with Fiber Nymph, which I know she probably has 9 million of, that's probably not an option for them. What would you get? So the things that I have been thinking of are any of the Madeline Tosh yarns, because I love her colors. Especially the Pashmina. I'm trying to think of things that I would not buy for myself. Or things that I want to try. So the Lorna's Laces Shepherd's Sock is definitely one that I'm thinking of because there are so many colors that they can choose from. That's another thing is I want to be surprised by the colors. Like, yeah, I know I'm going to get yarn, but I don't know exactly what kind and I don't know what color, and they get to pick, and my mom loves that. So I'm thinking Shepherd Sock, Madeline Tosh, just like any of them. Probably 3 Irish Girls, although those tend to run out pretty quickly, as does Bugga. And then I want to know what else you guys think. If you had this option, what would you get? What would you ask for? Because there's probably, well, no, there's definitely a lot of stuff that I've not tried yet, and I would be interested to know. So feel free to start a thread in the Ravelry group. I will probably be passing out on the couch soon. I didn't sleep well last night. So even though it's 7, I'm kind of exhausted. But feel free to start a thread in the Ravelry group. Let me know what your choices would be. If you have suggestions, I always appreciate them. And then I think one of the other things I'm asking for is a better webcam that doesn't hate me as much as this one does. Or I will spend the $20 myself and get it. I haven't decided. Maybe that'll be Will's gift to me. I've learned long ago that that's sort of how our Christmas goes, is I figure out something for him and then I figure out something for me from him. I don't mind, but yeah, that might wind up being my Christmas gift. But then if that's the case, there's not really a point to bring it to California with us. Anyways, let me know what you think about the yarn, and if you have suggestions for different kinds. I mean, if you've been watching, you know what kind of stuff I've been using. But yeah, let me know what your Christmas choice or holiday choice would be. Alright, till next time, I hope that you guys are having good weather. It's been cooler here, which is nice. And that you're not getting too much snow. Bye, guys.